What's up guys, BltzZ here today bringing you another video. In today's video I wanted to talk about something that sort of really piqued my interest during the second watching of the Yuffie trailer with you guys. There could very well be many answers to our questions for the way that Final Fantasy VII Remake ended. Thanks to the addition of this Yuffie DLC or episode, I am motivated and I am hyped beyond belief guys. This news has sparked a fire inside of me and it's making my mind race of all the possibilities that could be in line for us in the future. But for now, I want to talk about the direction the Yuffie DLC will be taking and the effects it may or may not have for the story of Remake. Spoiler warnings for the Final Fantasy VII Remake story and possibly even spoilers for Yuffie's DLC granted if we are correct with these predictions. So proceed with caution and let me know in the comments below if you guys agree with me on this or what else could be going down. So with that being said, let's get into the video. First things first, setting the scenario, it seems as if Yuffie's arrival to Midgar may take place around chapters 7 or 8. This is when Cloud, Tifa, and Barret are gone to blow up the reactor and Cloud falls from the reactor. Yuffie arrives in the daytime in the beginning around chapter 8. The interview with Nomura said that she came to town in search of materia, but I personally believe she is there to investigate the Shinra claims of Wutai and Avalanche working together, which was a smokescreen created by Shinra to rile the people of Midgar up against Avalanche and make them vouch for Shinra's side. Yuffie hears all about the Sector 5 bombing and how Wutai was allegedly involved, so she decides to track down Avalanche members to hear the truth from them. She meets up with some of them in Sector 7, and this Avalanche group is totally separate from Barret's group, as we found out in this game that Avalanche is actually much bigger and has many separate teams working aside from each other. When Yuffie meets up with Avalanche and is introduced to their entire team, they are now tasked with locating their other member, who we see in the trailer evading Shinra guards. On their way to meet up with him, they see Barret, Tifa, and Biggs and overhear their conversation about losing Cloud, which we see in the trailer. Shortly after this, Yuffie and Sonon are in a chase to save the other member being chased by the infantrymen. After saving him and defeating the new Centipede boss, this character tells them that only 29.9% of you guys that watch and love these videos are currently subscribed. Guys, we're almost at that 30% mark. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned so you guys don't miss out when we drop these videos you all love. Being a subscriber helps the channel out a ton, and it's a way to support the channel and it's totally free. I appreciate each and every single one of you guys, and I'm looking forward to releasing more videos for you all. We're working our way to get to 100,000 subscribers by the end of this year, so help your boy out and join the channel. Now back to the video. The other member of Avalanche after being saved probably introduces Yuffie and Sonon to Biggs and Wedge. This is happening while Barret and Tifa are out investigating Don Corneo's men, who they hear rumblings about targeting Avalanche in Sector 7 and want to understand and know why. Biggs and Wedge form a relationship with Yuffie and Sonon and maybe go on a few missions with them to help them out since they are Avalanche. And also, maybe Cait Sith could make an appearance here very early on, but no evidence really supports that outside of his random cameo during the plate collapse scene. Maybe Cait Sith informs Yuffie and Avalanche about Shinra's plan to drop the plate and wants them to stop it, which they attempt to do and ultimately fail, as we all know. Doing a slight time jump to around where Sector 7's plate is about to collapse, remember we play as Cloud solo as he makes his way up the tower. He witnesses Biggs dying or passes out, and then makes his way to continue upwards. After coming into contact with Reno and Roots Chopper, then Tifa rejoins Cloud, and remember Tifa was all smiley and happy after seeing Cloud, and she never mentions anything once about seeing Biggs on the earlier floors. They never even acknowledge that part either. But when Jesse dies a few floors later, Tifa is broken up to hell and Cloud is as well. I always thought this was weird, but now with Yuffie coming into play, it actually explains a lot to me. I think sometime between Cloud going up and passing by Biggs, Yuffie and Sonon make their way up behind him and find Biggs' body and takes him back to the ground level before Tifa even starts making her way up there. This totally prevents Tifa from ever seeing Biggs' body on her way up the platform. After Yuffie and Sonon secure Biggs with people in Sector 7 that know him and take care of him, Yuffie and Sonon are now looking for Wedge. The plate begins to collapse and they are running out of time. In that cutscene, we see Wedge holding his cats and is pretty much stuck with nowhere to go. I think Yuffie and Sonon eventually get to him and make it to that Shinra underground base that Cloud and the party eventually get to later on. While in this underground base, Wedge is knocked totally unconscious and Yuffie and Sonon move his body to where Cloud, Barret, and Tifa eventually find him a few chapters later. During this event, Yuffie and Sonon get ambushed by Deepground and have no choice but to fight them off while moving away from Wedge. Yuffie and Sonon get separated at some point and then regroup again together, where Yuffie helps a cornered Sonon, which we see in the trailer, and in the trailer says, "There you are," which she then responds, "Who are these jerks?" They fight off these enemies and they start making their way through the facility. They are in here way before Cloud, Barret, and Tifa are in here, and while this is all going down, they are taking out many enemies, and as a last-ditch effort, Deepground decides to unleash those Mako failed experiments on them, which they eventually evade, and Cloud and Barret and Tifa have to fight later on. However, Yuffie and Sonon ended up being trapped in the containment cell with the behemoth boss underground, which Cloud, Barret, and Tifa eventually fight too. Yuffie and Sonon are forced to fight this behemoth, and it's creating a lot of noise and rumblings. From Cloud and Barret's perspective, we can actually hear all this going down if you remember earlier on in their playthrough. But we don't ever get to see it or get near it at this time. But what we are hearing are the behemoth's growls from it fighting Yuffie and Sonon. But remember, we fight the behemoth as Cloud, Tifa, and Barret later the next day during a side mission. After Sonon and Yuffie defeat or escape from the behemoth, they make it further into the facility where they eventually come across the boss for this DLC. Now, Nomura said that Weiss is actually a secret boss in the VR this time around, but Yuffie very well could encounter a totally different enemy in the story. Who that will be, I have no idea. Maybe it could be a redesigned Genesis, since Square probably does not want to reuse Gak's design. But whoever or whatever it is, I think Sonon will actually die here or sacrifice himself to give Yuffie a chance to escape. Audrey brought up a good point that Sonon's voice actor for his Japanese line sounds like the actor Yoshimasa Hosoya, which this is not confirmed yet, guys, but this actor is very well known for playing characters who either die or get hurt. Basically Sean Bean. So if this is true, who knows, maybe Sonon does die and Yuffie is left alone to deal with getting out of Midgar by herself, and she eventually makes her way out ahead of the party who are on their way to Calm. I know this sounds very loose, but some of these pieces I talked about could be extended for longer scenarios, of course, but this is what I think generally will be happening during Yuffie's DLC. And also, this is how it will be taking place running aside Remake Part 1 with Yuffie saving Biggs, and this could explain why at the end of Remake we see him alive in Sector 5's orphanage. There is a possibility that Yuffie and Sonon also save Jessie, but we're totally unsure of that as of right now. I've been trying to see if Yuffie's voice actress is actually Erica Lindbeck, the voice of Jessie. If that's the case, then that is very interesting to me. Maybe this DLC is what Britt Baron and Erica were both recording together in a studio a few months ago. I think a lot of this fits together with what's going on exactly in Remake, and I think we can get even more than what I've actually explained here. We don't know for sure how long Yuffie's DLC is going to be exactly, but we do see them traveling a lot in the trailer, and a bunch of different locations that may have been inaccessible during Remake. I mean, they even take the train somewhere, maybe back to Sector 7 after learning about Shinra's plan to detach the plate. I think it's going to be interesting to see how Sonon and Yuffie's relationship plays out, and what amazing things this gameplay will showcase and have us ready to enjoy when Remake Part 2 finally comes around. Sonon unfortunately is not playable, but we can control what abilities he uses and also use that for team combos with Yuffie. This is a bit disappointing, but leaves a lot left to be excited for when we finally get to play as Sid in Remake later on. At least this will give us a little insight as to how team combos and Dragoons will play for Final Fantasy VII Remake's system. Are you guys excited for Yuffie's DLC? Sony and Xbox both said that the springtime, which is right now, is going to be a big restocking time for them. They have been working hard to normalize inventory on PlayStation 5s, so I hope you guys have plenty of chances to get one before June 10th, 2021, which is less than 4 months away, but I'm here and I'm rooting for you guys. I will be doing more PlayStation 5 giveaways if I can ever get my hands on another one. And that wraps it up for this video, guys. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think about this, as I had a lot of fun typing this one up, and I think it fits the narrative pretty well. I know a lot of people are worried that Yuffie's inclusion of her episode will ruin or hurt the way the story of Final Fantasy VII Remake played out, but I think this can exist with it very well, especially if they follow the same outline which I presented here, and I believe it's very possible for them to do so. Of course, many of this stuff is loose explanations as to what is going to be happening, so we won't know for sure until June 10th, 2021, which I definitely will be streaming as soon as I can for you guys to enjoy. If you guys have not yet, please be sure to check out the recent Yuffie content I just put out, the Nomura interview with Famitsu, and it was very insightful. It gave us lots of information and details to follow and look towards with the other editions of Final Fantasy VII coming in the next few years. We are expected to see in the future some really great things, guys. We have so many things that were announced this month alone relating to Final Fantasy, so I say it's a great time to be alive and to be a Final Fantasy fan. With Final Fantasy XIV still making a killing and Final Fantasy XVI information on the way, we were blessed not only with this Yuffie DLC, but with also the information regarding a surprising Final Fantasy VII Battle Royale, as well as the Ever Crisis series. Both are cool looking mobile games which I definitely will be playing whenever they are releasing, but to be honest, I'm more excited about the prospect that Ever Crisis has to offer. In addition to the original Final Fantasy VII story being remade again into a command-style RPG, even using Remake's animations on top of that, they will be remaking Crisis Core, Advent Children, Before Crisis, and Dirge of Cerberus, all of which were not turn-based RPGs. This is Square's answer for many fans who preferred that way of playing the game. and I truly cannot wait to actually have access to it and cover the releases with you all on this channel. I'm most excited for how Advent Children and Dirge's Cerberus will play, since Advent Children was a movie and Dirge was a third-person shooter. 2022 cannot come any sooner, guys. Be sure to like the video if you enjoyed and subscribe if you are new. More Final Fantasy VII Remake videos are coming your way and you won't want to miss them. My name is BltzZ and thanks for watching.